Here are some amazing gift ideas for this coming Valentine's Day for the men in your family, or change the essential oil blends and make it for the women in your family. What you're seeing are some super luxurious shaving soap that produces bubbles much like shaving cream. They've got clay and goat's milk, and they're paired with some shaving aftershave gel and also some room sprays you see there in the back. It makes a great gift set, and this is part of Cupid's Creations collaboration being hosted by myself, Tammy at Mountain Grandma, along with Gail Southern Living and Life in the Piedmont Homestead. Down in the description box below is more information, and there's going to be a giveaway, so make sure you check that out. Now, these right here are some different blends that I tested, and I'm going to share with you my favorite blends out of these three. We're going to make the room spray first. I'm also including this little guy here, and that is the Lifelines brand Walk in the Woods with cedarwood, vetiver, violet, and cinnamon. It smells amazing. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, for this first blend, I've got 3 essential oils for each of these blends actually, but this first one's going to be like a fresh walk in the woods is kind of what I was thinking, in the pines. And I'm using 15 drops of wintergreen, 15 drops of the fir needle. You could also supplement pine needle if that's what you had, and 15 drops of cedar wood for that one. And once I get those all dropped in there, I'm going to set those aside and work on the next blend that I went with, which is more like a warm citrusy kind of smell. And we are going to have 15 drops of basil in there, 15 drops of lemongrass, and then 15 drops of bergamot. And I'm going to get all of those dropped in there, set them aside. And now what you see me doing is adding in some vodka into these spray bottles. I like to use vodka. You could also use witch hazel if you wanted. I like vodka because the alcohol evaporates. So if you're using it like as a linen spray, or if you're spraying it, you know, in the car or just in a room or whatever, it's going to be sprayed and then the alcohol evaporates real quickly and you're just left with the scent of the essential oil blend. So once you get those all bottled up, there you go. You've got part of your gift set put together. Now let's move on to the soap. All right, here's what I'm going to be using. I've already taken half of this container of detergent-free aloe and olive melt and pour soap base. And I have that cut up in chunks here in this container here that I'll get those melted. And then I'm also going to be using some goat milk powder, some bentonite clay, and sodium lauryl sulfoacetate. This is an ingredient in your bath bombs that create like tons of bubbles, right? And I'm using this because I want to make sure that this shaving soap does the same thing. We need high bubble content for a good shaving soap that's going to make like a shaving cream kind of consistency. So these are the ingredients I'm going to use, and also an essential oil blend, and I'll share those with you in here in just a minute. We'll share those while I go ahead and get this melted, because this is also the first step. All right, I'll be back with you. All right, to this container here, I'm going to add in an ounce of bentonite clay, or excuse me, a half an ounce of bentonite clay. All right, so there we go. We're at a half an ounce. And then I'm also going to put in a quarter of an ounce, so 0.25 ounces of the SLSA. And this is a very fine powder. You want to make sure that you're like wearing a mask or something when you handle this stuff. I'm also going to add into this about a teaspoon of the dried goat's milk. Now, I'm going to pour some of my melted soap in here just to get this mixed up really well. You're going to have to stir for a little bit because there are chunks in here that need to be broken down. You want to make sure your soap is hot enough to do that. And the whole reason for mixing it up separately is just to avoid too many big chunks. Now to this container, I'm going to add in this fragrance oil, which I only need 1/4 of an ounce, 0.25 ounces, and that's what this whole container is. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in and get this mixed up really well. And I had my stirrer in the container mixing up the clay and everything. So that's what you see kind of floating around is what came off of the stirring stick. There are some big chunks in here coming from the goat's milk powder. Make sure y'all mix that up really good and break it down. I was in a hurry and I should have broken up the goat's milk powder a little better. But you can see the texture to this is nice and thick with the clay in there. I'm letting it cool off more than I usually would before I pour it, because if you wait and if you hurry and pour it when it's still very warm, you're going to have the clay and everything kind of settle to the bottom of the bar. And I want to prevent that as much as I can. So I just keep stirring it, and as soon as it cools off to what I think is a good temperature, I'm not going to break out my heat thermometer or anything like that, but as soon as it cools off, I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the mold. So I will be back with you when I have done that. Here's the molds I'm going to use. They're these cute fishing molds. Let me turn that one so you can, some fishing boots, fish. All right, now here you see me pouring the soap mix into the molds, making a little bit of a mess here, but that's okay. And you can see that it's kind of thick. It's a thick consistency. I wanted it that way because that helps to make sure that the clay is going to stay more suspended in the soap, and I have some left over here to go into another soap mold. So I'm going to set these aside after I spray them with alcohol, and let's go ahead and get started on that aftershave gel. All right, here's what I'm going to be using. Some sunflower oil, argan oil, cucumber extract, aloe vera gel, and I have a natural fragrance oil. It's not an essential oil, but it's kind of close. And this is ocean mist and sea salt. So there's my ingredients. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, to this, I'm going to add in 0.07 ounces of the cucumber extract. If I go over, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm probably going to go over. I cut this recipe down just because I don't want to make as much. I'm going to add in 0.07 of the sunflower oil. And I'm going to add in 0.05 of the argan oil. And for the fragrance, I'll be adding in just a couple drops. Okay, I'm going to get this all mixed up. All right, now that I've got it all mixed up, you can see it looks really opaque. It's not clear anymore. All right, now here you see me adding these to these jars that I have. Do not try to put this into a bottle unless it's a really large mouthed bottle, because you will not be able to get it in there. It's just too thick for that. But I love how these jars also match the room spray bottles. So they look great as a gift. Here it is. I love how the soap turned out, and the aftershave gel is amazing. And the room spray just kind of adds to it, gives another layer to this gift. I hope you all enjoyed this. Make sure you leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you appreciated this content, and make sure that you check out the description box for all the giveaway information. There's a giveaway. Everybody's giving away a lot of fun stuff, and I might be giving away some of what I just made. So hope to see you all there. And until I see you next time, remember everybody, keep your joy, folks.